All right, we're on.
We're good?
Yeah.
Live?
New episode of Shower Beers featuring Smeagol.
They let me out of the basement to record another episode.
You should have to do a whole episode with that voice.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I'm already over it.
That's going to be tough.
No, that's what I'm going to do.
Oliver doing the Smeagol voice would be my sleep paralysis
Yeah.
demon.
That's why I can't get dates, because usually women are afraid that I'm probably just going to whip that out in the middle of an intimate moment.
Oh.
You just start with it and you're like, I just had to get that out of the way.
Precious! Okay, now, yeah.
In my mind, I had imagined starting this podcast with hello and welcome back to the hot, steamy world of shower beers.
Should we do a hard
So for
reset?
you to come out with that was
I'm leaving that whole thing, but we should do a hard reset. But all right, let's start over. Ready? Hello and
Precious.
welcome to my precious.
Hot, steamy world.
Leave all of this in. Leave all of this.
Welcome back.
Even the part where we're saying cut this part out. Leave this in.
We just need a picture of Schmiegel in the shower with a beer and just going, my precious.
Oh my god. I love the Lord of the Rings. For anyone who doesn't know what Lord of the Rings is, watch it. It's
Watch it.
It's good. It's some of the best movies of all time, and they hold up. So we're gonna talk about Star Wars in every episode for at least 2 seconds. But I would never tell an adult with a fully formed brain to watch Star Wars if they have never seen it and don't love it already.
Hello?
Hello.
Scary noises.
We
Gone?
might have an unexpected guest.
Hey.
Hey!
Hello there.
It's Bud,
It's Bud,
The owner.
coolest guy.
the proprietor of this podcast,
the
Thanks,
crashing the
Bud.
show.
the podcast godfather.
But truly, so I would never tell somebody to watch Star Wars if they're an adult who never saw it, because I feel like Star Wars is probably something you got to have seen as a kid if you're going to understand the appeal, or maybe at least a teenager. But if you're an adult, if you're in your 30s or 20s, and you haven't seen it, the boat's probably been missed for the franchise. There are still good shows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you're not
that's
going to love
true.
the franchise the same way that but the Lord of the Rings, you could watch that if you're 30 and you've never seen Lord of the Rings. I feel like you could watch that and 100% still get it.
Absolutely. You gotta watch all, even their show is fantastic. The Rings of Power.
I never watched it.
Oh my god.
It
I
was
heard
good?
that they spent
It's-
an amazing.
It's one of the most expensive TV shows ever. It was 700
What?
some million.
I was gonna say it was close to $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean, they killed it. It was so good.
No, The Hobbit is one of the only books in my life that I ever read, and then then I watched the Lord of the Rings movies, and I remember being in the theater with my dad because the Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, that's the only one I saw in theaters, and that's the one that has 10 endings. Because it will just fade to black and then come back with, and then this is what these people were doing, and then it fades to black, and then it shows, and this is how the end of these guys' story, because it does that with them in the beds at the elves' place, them in the castle, them playing with their families or writing books, and then they go off on these boats or something like that. But there's several different fake endings
that happens in the movie?
No, and there's that's the end of the movie is just these last little clips of the ends of their stories.
You have to know.
And my dad said that he kept on getting up because it was a long movie in the theaters. It was
Very
2
long.
hours, the theatrical release. So I don't know if he had to piss, if he was hungry, if he was just over it, because I didn't notice that it was an obnoxious amount of fake endings at the time.
Me either.
But my dad was geez. So he'd get up because the screen would fade to black, and then he'd have to sit right back down. And that happened 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. Dad was ready to
that's
get
sort of
out.
taking my girlfriend to a Marvel movie.
Okay.
Which,
what
for the record, I
Which
don't
ones?
particularly enjoy it because she just makes fun of them. But it's she's it'll end and she'll get up to leave. No. This is a Marvel movie.
You got to see the credits.
I didn't come for the movie. I came for the credits. And she gets so mad.
So
You gotta
it's
wait a
interesting
long
that
time.
you bring up Marvel movies. I haven't seen any it's pretty popular.
They're in a
opinion
slump.
That after what was it? Endgame.
In Infinity War or Endgame, yeah.
Yeah, and after that they've really, and you can say that the Spider-Man movie was something. I watched it a second time. I didn't think the movie was that good.
It's okay.
The experience of watching it the first time, where there are some characters from some previous movies. It's been several years.
It's
since
underwhelming
came out.
considering the cast.
Yeah,
Like I'm on the impression that like if you have Jake Gyllenhaal in a movie, that it's gonna be a good movie.
Wait, but yeah, I was gonna say Jake Gyllenhaal's not in this movie, but you're just making comparisons.
Well,
in
no,
the
he's
Spider-Man
in the
movie.
last Spider-Man.
Mhm.
He's in a Spider-Man from like a decade ago.
No,
No.
he's you're thinking
He
of
fought Tom
Andrew
Holland.
Garfield.
No, Jake Gyllenhaal's was in Spider-Man, not No Way Home, Far From Home, which came out. Oh, was that after?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
because there was also No Way Home.
Yeah, you're thinking. Yeah, you're thinking of a
decades ago. Oh my
the
God.
last Spider-Man movie was with Jake Gyllenhaal. He was Mysterio.
But the one there was a
one
Spider-Man
after
movie
that.
after that,
There
which
was one after that.
No Way Home.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
one
Yep.
with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Right.
Haven't seen
Yep.
Want
Okay.
to.
So here's the. I didn't think it was that good. It's exciting seeing the characters, but like the movie around it, I think
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I was pretty bored on the
It's
second watching.
unfortunately it's the strength of Marvel right now because like the other stuff.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was pretty good.
That was good.
It was
Doctor
good.
Strange's second movie was
yeah.
Multiverse?
It
Multiverse
was
of Madness.
meh.
Yeah.
That was good.
I didn't like it.
Multiverse.
I was entertained, but I was not fulfilled. I guess you could
No,
like it was okay.
I was pretty bored. I thought that they made Doctor Strange less interesting.
Mm.
They gave him a kid sidekick, which like I hate in any movie. I hate in any movie.
I just
What
hate
about
kids.
Indiana Jones?
Like
They did it once.
it's still the word. It's not.
Oh.
You can have the best example of a thing that I don't like, but that would probably be maybe the best example.
Okay. All right. Fair.
But yeah, no, like the little kid sidekick, or even if they're not that little of a kid,
Or
like,
just little kids in general.
What about
That's
Baby
fair.
Yoda? I know he's not Baby Yoda.
Different.
I will also by proxy Baby Yoda annoys me because like Baby Yoda became the meme or became like a
Yeah.
reference to just
Oh god.
like this like
That was the reason I watched.
yeah like because like somebody will post a picture of Baby Yoda saying like me want chicken nuggies or something like
Me
that,
want nuggies.
and I'm just like oh my god, like this has been just like Baby Yoda is the Star Wars version of like Minions to me, where like,
Yes.
people of a certain generation will just like
Oh,
post a meme-
don't be hating on Grogu.
Yeah.
Grogu.
He's not that
Yeah,
bad.
Grogu's
It's not his fault that he's
Christian.
famous. And
But yeah, no, that's a bunch of nerd stuff. Like we talked about Marvel and Star Wars and Lord of the
right,
Rings.
we got that out of the way. I feel
What
like it is going to be every episode.
Should we talk about more movies that have a book with them? And have you read the book?
That's only going to be like Harry Potter for me.
I
Hunger
have a
Games.
joke about this.
Hunger Games?
Hunger Games. I've not seen the movie nor read the book.
I have seen all the movies now. I did watch the
There,
You
most
watched the
recent
new
one. The
The prequel.
yes,
Oh, Astoria.
and then I have not read the books, but I did watch. I have seen every movie.
Mm.
I was pretty well entertained from all of them, but they didn't really. The last one didn't really blow me away. But I mean, you can kind of see more direction on where they're going and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was just a
Okay.
little off.
Okay.
see,
I think they waited too long to release it.
Well,
It was a long
that's
time.
always a big
I
thing.
think
It's
By
a
the
long
time that they
because
release,
when did the
fandom's gone.
part 2 of Mocking
It took way too long.
Yeah.
Well, because I
come
remember
out.
the first movie
I don't
got
even
really
know.
popular,
I don't even know.
I think back in
all
2011.
four of those were
Yes.
extremely
So
popular, and
It
then
was-
So popular. I was in high school. I was obsessed with it. I saw the movies, and then I was literally like having dreams of being best friends with Katniss Everdeen. I was like, I gotta get the books because
Me
I couldn't
too.
wait for the movies to come
Oh,
out.
see, I remember in 2011 or 12, there's a girl that I was sweet on where she liked reading and she was a fan of the Hunger Games. So I remember that I was going to try to read the books so that way I could like,
Mhm.
be relatable or impress her that I read a thing. Like, I don't know. I was scraping for anything to
Yeah.
like, get more into this individual's life. And then I just
Right.
never did that. I don't know if it's because like we just kind of stopped talking, and then I'm like, well, I'm not going to read the book now. This was only a means to an end. This was not for
Right.
my own enjoyment.
That's okay. That's
Um,
okay.
Yeah, no, technical difficulties. But I've no, I on a couple occasions I've tried to read books to impress some women that read books. Summer,
Yeah.
as a lady, if you had a favorite book, and let's say that you were dating somebody, and they started reading your book, or then they started reading a book to try, would you think that that was sweet, or would you think that that was creepy? If they didn't ask you or tell you, but they were like, "Hey, I'm almost done with this book, by the way. Yeah, I see what you like." Like, would you think that that's sweet, or would you be like, "Ugh," like, or would it depend on like other things?
Definitely depends, on the whole situation. When I was younger and like dating people, I probably would have thought, yeah, that's sweet. Now I'm in a relationship. If Jordan were to do that, I think that would be really sweet. But also, even if you're in a relationship, sometimes you still get hit on by people. And so if somebody were to do that, and just by coincidence, I'm not reading it because you're reading it, I would definitely think it's creepy for sure.
Right, but like, what if you were available and like in your mind now, like there's somebody that you know, and yeah, they just started saying that they are reading this book. Like, if you were available with everything that you know about you now, you and men now, like would that be? Okay. Because I've always wondered, oh God, if I start reading this book because I want to get closer to them, is this going to be a much scarier thing than sweet?
Question. I think that's a good question.
I think about it in the opposite way, where like if it's something that they're super interested in, my head, I'm like, all right, as we get to know each other, like they can show me this thing that they love, and then we can share a common ground. Because it requires less work from me, but I don't know. It's more like I always just feel somebody's like obsessed with something or like loves it, like they're gonna want you to love it. Sure, that makes total sense. But they probably might enjoy showing it to you in the way they look at it more than you taking it. And like the other thing is like, what if you read it and you're like, this is what they like? Like,
oh no,
like they're like, this is the thing that they like. Like,
I wound up reading a book,
which could be a good thing. I mean, maybe you just are like, okay, we're not good.
No, that had some like sex scenes in it that were like pretty like well written. I was like impressed. I was like, oh, okay, but then but it was hard because I was like, oh, how do I bring this up? That now I started reading because I've just asked what this person's favorite book is in conversation. Now to say that I started reading it is, but if somebody in return, and this is different because like men and women are going to be very. If somebody says, yeah, I started watching that show that you really like.
Initially, very flattering.
I would almost if I already like the person, I'd be flattered.
Yeah,
I don't know if it'd make me like somebody that I'm on the fence about more.
Sure. Okay.
It might. Though.
That's a tough thing to assume ahead of time, I guess.
Yeah.
For someone like me, I deal with codependency issues, so I would be flattered. But then I would also be like, okay, well, stay like logical here, Summer. Do watch out for signs of like codependency, because I don't want to be in a unhealthy codependent relationship. So if someone were to do all the things that I'm doing, that would be a red flag to me. But if it's like just this one thing and you still have your full personality and identity outside of that, then it is flattering and nice to share a thing.
Well, last episode we were talking about our biggest icks, and like my biggest like opposite of my ick, or like I wouldn't say a turn on. What's a turn on but like less horny sound?
Green flag.
Yeah, green flag. So green,
green flag.
The fact that I didn't know the word green flag is probably a red flag, but no, my biggest like the green flag that I get from somebody is if I have an interest, and because I'm interested in it, they want to know more about that thing, I'll be like, oh, that will take my breath away. If like I'm interested in a series, but maybe they've never like, if I'm interested in an anime and they're like, oh, you really like that, don't you? I'm like, yep. And they're like, oh, that's stupid. That sucks. Or if they're like, ew, nerd stuff. But if they're like, so tell me about it. Like, what about this is appealing? Like, what do you find interesting?
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'm going to talk about my favorite thing now to one of my favorite people. Like,
yeah.
Like that's how you.
Right.
You don't scratch my tummy to make me purr. You ask about my favorite shit.
Some people put Catholicism on their Tinder, and some people put anime.
Yeah.
Call back.
Call back to the big ick.
Yeah, the big egg.
The big ick. Summer, you were mentioning something earlier about the sleep study,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Before the show,
yeah.
which is so
there's a
interesting
study
because
done.
Yes. Okay.
it's when you first mentioned it, I thought about. I was like, I should read about this so like I'm informed.
Okay.
And then I was just also like, I want to hear it from Summer's perspective because I already kind of know what I would think.
Okay.
Like, and I don't think I'm going to think a bad thing.
Mhm.
I just think I'm like, there's just preconceived things that like are pretty well ingrained in us to think.
Mm.
And so it's like an interesting study, but then also like, for me, sometimes it's easier if somebody who has an opinion on it that would differ from mine to explain it to me,
Right.
because I'll only read it for like the things that I understand.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, you want somebody else's lens.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not because I have the like, I try to put myself in a different state of like how I understand it, but it could be just one of those things where I'm like, this isn't something for me to fully understand by myself.
Right.
Okay.
So what was the rest of it? Because you
Okay.
mentioned it
Yes.
before the show. What was the rest of the study that you wanted to?
Okay. To be honest, I still have not read the full study.
Fair enough.
But when I was asking my family and friends about topics to talk about on the show, my husband's wife, Lindy, said something interesting to her in the news recently was that the first sleep study on women specifically had just come out, which was surprising.
Wait, there's the first.
Mhm.
So there's not been a study on like women sleeping specifically, or
No.
Oh,
Yes, not
Jesus.
yet.
Yeah. Before this, they were like, yeah, we know they do it. Like,
Yes, exactly.
Inexplicably,
Yeah.
every night.
Most of the medical studies that get performed until I think around the 90s is when government
no.
stepped in and said like we need more like equal studies for men and women, but most were done on men.
Right.
Mhm. And so before we like go into the details of it, I did think it would be fun to see like, okay, what are our sleep, like
Oh.
what do we
God.
get for sleep per usual versus what is like our prime amount of sleep where we function best?
Dude, so there's like no rhyme or reason. Like, so like we do comedy, so sometimes we get, back from shows as late as like 3 a.m. I mean, I did a show where I was in Des Moines. I think that was back around 3:30 in the morning
Oh.
because I didn't leave the venue until about 1:30 or something like that.
Mhm.
So there's not often a rhyme or reason. Like I work first shift now, which I used to work third shift, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So my sleep schedule was fucked then.
Yeah, that's
Right, that was like going to sleep at 6 or 7
Yeah.
in the morning and then waking up at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. That was kind of like the normal then. My normal now is I don't really consider going to bed until midnight, which really sucks. Like, because I'm either sleeping in, because I like to get like, I don't know, 10 hours is kind of the, and it's
Yeah.
because I'm getting shit sleep that I need 10 hours.
that's absolutely my problem. I snore. I know what I need to do to make it stop. It's just, I'm not there yet. Like,
Right.
I haven't decided that I should do that.
Right.
And so, like, I would say my average sleep is probably 5 to 6 hours.
Oh my god.
And
I
then,
know, oftentimes, I will say that I've put myself in a corner where I am actually going to bed like closer to 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning,
right.
which does result in I've got to wake up 8, 7, 9, and you're getting that 5 to 6, pretty often, I would say.
I think my
Okay.
body is just like kind of like, all right, you gave it a try. Like, because I still like Mason City Wednesday. I worked all day. I came home. We left immediately. We
Yep.
went and did the show. We were home past midnight.
Oh my
Ish.
gosh.
I would say it
It's
wasn't
right.
too bad.
Yeah.
Again, because I've got a fucked up scale.
Right.
Being home at or around midnight, I'm like, oh, this
But-
is great.
No, I was happy about. But then, like, taking into account my entire day, like, I went to work early that day, so that when I left early, I wouldn't be behind so much. So I was at work about 10 after 7, and then so that mean I got up at about 6, and then we went that whole day. And then so 4th I have off, and I don't really have to be up.
Mhm.
I'm still up at 7.
Oh, no.
Like, I woke up at 7,
Yeah.
and my body's like, all right, you tried, like, and then it's like, all
Oh,
right,
so you wake up at a certain time regardless of Like if you're able to sleep in or not.
Yeah, I mean, eventually it does catch up with me, and I will have like days where I just
Crash.
I'll sleep for like most of the morning, but for the most part, I'm pretty much up between 6 and 7 every day,
Wow.
no matter when I go to bed. And I've tried to go to bed
Mhm.
earlier and later to change how I feel. It's like nothing really.
That's kind of good though. So you're never late for work.
True,
on
yeah.
accident. That's what happens. to
Luckily, I work at
me.
8:30 normally, so I'm like
Mm.
pretty much always on time.
No, I would literally kill to be able to wake up at 7 and go, oh, I didn't get enough sleep, but I'm up. Because what happens to me is if I haven't got enough sleep yet, even if I like wake up, if I'm waking up repeatedly, I will get back to sleep and I will,
Once in a while,
like,
yeah,
I will
I'll
waste
go,
an entire morning away. I
yeah.
stay in bed on days off past 11 a.m. more often than not.
Yeah, and I just in my head, I think it's like when I wake up, I'm like get up and do something, like just go do, like, or I'll be, and it could be anxiety based, like I already know I have stuff to do, so I'm
Yeah.
like just start doing it.
Definitely anxiety plays in a lot.
No, getting in a cycle or getting in a routine, that's the dream right there. But like, until I'm a more boring person, I won't have that.
Mm-hmm.
until I stop doing
Yeah.
shows. That's I've tried to get like on an eating schedule as well, where I only try to eat
That's
between
tough.
like noon and 8 p.m. But like when you have a show and you're on your way back and like
Yeah,
you're,
you
like,
gotta
you're staying
time it.
up, like you're
Like
not gonna-
on Wednesday, another good example of the eating thing is like I knew I wasn't going to be able to stop for food, and I didn't know when I'd be getting food at the show, so I had to eat I tried to eat lunch as late as possible.
right,
But then again, that just made my morning miserable. So I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
need I'm just exchanging
right.
when I'm gonna be miserable.
Right.
Right. So yeah, a routine is good. We it sounds like I don't really have one. Dave,
Yeah.
regardless of when he sleeps, is waking up at 7.
You do a little bit.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I got something of a routine, I suppose. On weekdays, for me, I don't know if it's stress for work the next day or what, but it doesn't matter. Like when I go to sleep, I constantly am waking up at like 4 a.m. Before I think it was from stress. Now it's just from my fucking cat harassing me every night. But if I have like free sleep, where I don't have an alarm or anything, no work the next day, I do typically wake up after about like 7 hours. And then if it's not 7 hours, it is like 9 hours. And I just think I always thought it was weird that it was those two different time slots that I would wake up.
Interesting.
But I think I have some answers now because
That's what I was gonna say. I was
Because
like,
of
how
the
does
study.
how does your
Yes.
sleep schedule fit into what this study found?
when I heard about the study, I just thought it was super weird. From the synopsis I got from Lindy, I'm so sorry I didn't read it. I'll be more prepared in the future. But men on average from their sleep studies need 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
I would say that's accurate. The only reason I feel like I often need 10 is because I'm
Mhm.
constantly trying to gain sleep that I've been deprived of.
Yeah.
So like if I ever get to a point where I am actually caught up on sleep, which is rare, but if I'm caught up on sleep, yeah, that night 7 hours would be plenty. Like that sounds
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, I would say that's probably what I get most on a good night.
Good one.
But my biggest problem is I know I'll wake up at between 6 and 7, and I'll still just go to bed at 1:30, and I'm like,
Oh my
why are you
gosh.
doing that? When you're
Yeah.
gonna get more sleep. And
That's
I also
wild.
don't think, and I could be wrong about this, that once you've lost sleep, it's like I didn't. You don't really ever you can't get it back.
Yeah.
You know.
can't.
So sleeping more, it's just your body's already lost that sleep cycle. You're moving on, and so I think about that a lot, and I'm just like, well, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You didn't need that one. I
You
guess
didn't need that one.
Right.
Okay.
you move on now.
So then the sleep study on women, I'm sure there's more to it, and we can put the link in the bio for everyone to read. But it said women can need on average up to 9 hours of sleep, depending on different things like hormones, where they're at in their hormonal cycle. Are they pregnant? Because when you're doing those things, your body's just using more energy and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
And here's the funny part is that it said women need more sleep because they're thinking more and exerting more energy on thinking.
Okay. This study was done by a woman, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Bullshit. Okay, I was with you until that last sentence. Cut it from the...
Yep. Well, so then, which sounds like great,
offended.
right? It sounds great. But for me, when I think about myself, most of my thinking is anxiety.
Right. I kind of figured that's where you're going to go because it's like people think thinking that thinking doesn't mean being smarter. It's just your brain's more your brain. There's more activity in the brain, and as far as I understand, and yes, I mean my experience with even my own girlfriend is like she deals with a lot of anxiety, and it's like it's even hard to comprehend. Like if you're not someone that deals, like it is hard for me at times to even like understand how that like just don't worry about it. Like why are you worried about like 8 days from now? It's like we have 8 other days to do before that day, and it's like it doesn't come. But it's like a constant reminder system for me. It's like, oh, that's not how you, like on the chemical level, your brain doesn't even work the same. So it's like that whole anxiety thing. I think, especially if society's probably done a little bit to pressure women into having more anxiety than men.
Oh, sure.
Just as a result of standards that are supposed to be or not be. Men don't have to really worry about that.
No, I've got extreme anxiety, which will be made apparent to people who like spend like 10 minutes around me because of the amount of like overthinking or the amount of my brain doesn't turn off. But like I definitely let it bother me to the point where this is also sleep related. Is that for 2.5 years, I was basically waking up every hour to 2 hours out of a cold sweat and a sleeping.
Oh my god!
Because I had a job at that time where I was loading and unloading and tracking packages at a distribution center, and there was a yellow light. That if the yellow light was on, that would mean that the line is backed up. You need to get everything caught up, and we were timed on the yellow light how much you had in a night, and basically the yellow light was bad news, so I was constantly oscillating my head, checking to see is the light yellow. So to the point where out of my sleep, I would be relaxing and almost relaxing, and then I would snap out of the sleep and I'd be like, is the yellow light on? And I'd be like, nope, it's not because I'm at home.
Right.
And I described that to a friend of mine who was in the military and he was deployed twice, and he said that's PTSD, and I'm like, it's kind of nice that you're licensing me to use this. Because usually PTSD, that's like a very extreme thing. But he's like, no, you got it. I'm like, nice. I don't feel like such a silly Billy for, being incredibly stressed out. Because my brain was just drowning in stress and anxiety, chemicals, hormones, whatever the word is, for like 2 years plus. So that's...
oh my God, that sounds terrible.
August 8th, 2021. That was the last day I ever spent in that place.
Day that shall live in infamy.
Yep, I marked it as the last bad day I ever had.
Yeah.
I want to come back to the sleep conversation, but I have to pee so bad my taint's cramping up.
Oh my God, no.
And we can take
keep
a little.
This in the podcast.
Should we keep it? Yeah, we'll keep this in. I gotta pee a little bit, and then if anybody needs anything to drink, I'll grab that.
Oh God, no, we don't want your pee. I gotta pee if anyone wants anything to drink.
Never mind.
Okay.
All right, we got the green light. We are back.
And we're live.
Shower beers.
Shower beers.
We drink a shower and we take beer.
Take a beer. Just don't take one of mine. All right. So before the break, before Dave's taint was exploding, we timed it right when he.
I have a syndrome.
Are you suffering from
ETS?
Yeah,
exploding taint syndrome.
Like they would name it after you, like they would just Dave Grant syndrome.
Dave disease.
He had Dave's disease. What does that mean? His taint explodes.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the sleep study and the PTSD that I got from my job. And then before we were coming back, we kind of were talking like, do you have any other shit job like just that you've ever had? Like, have you ever had like maybe the job wasn't bad, but certain parts of it, or like a really bad day? Like, can you?
I did have a shit job once.
Oh, whoa.
My job, it was
Nervous laughter.
it was at a meat packing plant, and I was cutting out the buttholes of cows.
The butthole cutter?
I was the bunger, and so it was a shit job. There was shit involved for sure.
Please, is that the real name of that person?
Yeah,
She said
The
it too
bunger?
quick, Dave. She said it too quick.
Oh my God, Summer.
I think so.
So sorry you had to go through that.
I am
I
the terror
felt
that
so
flaps in the night. I am the bugger.
I'm not letting you anywhere near my bunger.
Very good with that knife. Just
Summer, good luck getting
push it
introduced.
down.
Good luck getting introduced at a comedy show from now on.
I will always be thinking about
She
Summer.
is the bunger.
The local legend, the bunger.
From her bunger days to now.
Summer, the bunger. Dawn.
It was pretty cool. And my sister did that job before I did. So it
So
runs
it's-
in the family.
It's like a dynasty.
You guys are-
Runs like
You
dynamite.
got a
Oh,
family.
no.
You have a family dynasty of bungers.
Guys, we should leave. Why? Here come the bunger sisters.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like, that's a good video game villain. or
Good
something like that.
Lord.
The bunger sisters.
That sounds like an awful job too. Please.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, okay,
it
yeah.
wasn't great.
What was the worst part of it?
She kind of described it, Dave.
That's the funny part. Is like I can't think of it. It's like, well, it's not so bad once you get the butthole out. Like,
Yeah. For me, in the point of life I had been raised very spoiled. I didn't know how to do things like for myself. So to get this
So
like
it was
hands-on manual
it was a
labor
reality
job,
check.
I was like, I'm strong and I can do anything. I got so strong from slinging them cows, you know?
But it was like a real reality check, or like kind of like a, because I remember when I was detasseling, it was my first, like, I don't even say it was a job, it's seasonal work. Like, anyone
Yeah.
that says that it's a job, it's not a job, but
It's a
it's
seasonal
seasonal
job.
work.
Sure.
But like, I remember that I was having these 12 and 14-hour days, and I was going into 8th grade. And I was having these days, and I was coming back home and just eating my dinner, and then like playing video games for an hour, and then going right back to bed, basically.
Yeah.
And my mom saw me do that for 2 weeks straight the first year that I was detasseling.
Yeah.
And then she told me, she's like, "That's how I knew you wouldn't grow up to be a fucking loser." And I'm like, Jesus Christ! she saw me go through that and do something hard, because up until that point,
Oh, that's
she was like
fantastic.
raising just a kid who ate macaroni and like
Yeah.
played, Nintendo. Well, you don't know if that kid's going to be worth anything.
that's
But, like,
true.
then-
That's true. She made a good point.
No, she saw me do something hard, and also put my head down, and like I wasn't like coming home every day because I got too sick and they had to bring me home.
Yeah.
I wasn't, getting home sent like with a message saying we fired the little bastard. So like that was kind of like my coming of age thing, was like going into 8th grade where my parents were like, he's gonna be all right. He is definitely very
Aw.
stupid, but he's gonna.
It's gonna be okay.
I have my dad's work ethic where I can literally, like, I don't have a high pain tolerance, but what I do have is a high tolerance before I bring up that immense pain to somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
And make it a
Right.
problem. Like I can have either a poker face or I can just get it done, but I will feel every iota of the suffering that it takes to get there. Like I said, that Target job that I had, I was walking out of there to the point where I couldn't lift my shoulders, I couldn't move my legs, the bottoms of my feet were swollen, every joint was aching, my back was doubled over. The warehouse was about like a half a mile from the entrance to the outbound area that I was at. And no, there were days where we had to sit out on the smoke deck. My coworker, roommate, we would carpool, and I would tell him, like, I can't make it to the front door today. We need to go sit down for a second so I have the strength to get out of here. So like, I don't have a high pain tolerance. What I do have is the ability to not give a shit and just like think about what if dragons were real. Or
Were you
something.
only an only child? Were you an only child?
No, well, so I have a brother 8 years older than me. So
Wow.
like we have like it's
Semi
like
only.
we're different generations. He's like
Yeah.
barely a millennial. He turns 40 this month. Happy birthday, Donovan.
Happy birthday, Donovan.
Happy
no.
birthday.
He's like barely a millennial. and I'm like in the younger half of millennials for sure.
Oh, okay. You see.
But yeah.
God.
Any other Dave? What
I
about shit
Yeah.
still
Johnson?
can't get over the
Bunger.
bunger.
Yeah, you can't.
No.
You
Can that be the
Have
title
you
of this
gotten
episode?
Have you gotten over the bunger?
I honestly feel like that was the most badass job I had, and I would do it again.
Right. No, a coming of age moment. Like that's you.
But you
were
had a
the-
literal shit job.
It was a literal shit job.
No,
I didn't get it on me because I was very good at what I did, but some of the other people, yeah, sometimes they got
Was there
shit on
st-
them.
Summer.
Was there still like poop?
Yeah.
It was a butthole,
Oh,
Dave.
yeah.
No. But yeah, can you think of anything that like the bunger?
All I could think of is to use one of those like those things where they do the balloon sinoplasty in your nose, where they like go up there and then they blow up the balloon,
The best.
and like it's like you stick it in the butthole and you blow up the balloon and then you pull it out.
Oh,
That's the bunger.
That's something.
That's
I think that's it.
that's the bunger right there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where the pleasure is.
How do you
happening-
blow up the balloon? How do
That
you blow
depends on the person.
Mouth. So honestly, we don't even need the tool. You just put a balloon in their butt.
Yeah.
And you blow the balloon up, and then you pull the balloon out.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
The bunger.
the babe gave me a balloon. Bunger.
We'll do that live next time.
Oh.
Okay, so Dave, what
I,
the fuck are we talking
I-
about? Bad job.
I don't think
Oh,
that I
right,
could
bad
match
jobs.
either one of
we
those
got
jobs.
sidetracked by the
Bunging.
the bugging.
It was cool. Felt very cool.
That should be a horror movie.
The bunger.
The bunger,
No,
where you just like you kill people by like cutting their buttholes
No,
out.
I still
That
think
would
that this
be
episode should
terrible.
be titled "The Bungin
It's
Sisters."
absolutely gonna be called
The
that.
Bunger Sisters.
The Bunger Sisters.
We're
I have
ultimate
not had
wrestlers.
shit
Oh God.
a shit job
That's
like
the
this.
that reminds me of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
Get
that was
over
Mortal
here!
Kombat, yeah.
Finish him.
No.
Yeah.
Please.
Summer just walks away. Fatality.
Oh. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, don't let us interrupt.
No, you're fine. I haven't had anything quite that
You
bad.
never had? Okay, have you ever so you've bartended?
No, I have a job that I did. Like, it's just the things that I had to do were not great. I worked IT in college,
Okay. Okay.
and like so basically, like other students would bring in their computers, and then you would have to like diagnose and fix the problem if you could.
Mhm.
Right. But
And
there's only
most
certain
of that
shit you know about.
Is from porn.
I was wondering.
Like you get to the point where they bring it in, they tell you the symptoms, you just be like, stop watching porn.
Oh no.
Like because it's, and I would always just like we had canned air. I would go through so much canned air.
It's so
It's
funny.
basically just like an air compressor, but like little. It doesn't.
Yeah,
It's not
yep.
compressor. It's just
Yep.
a can of air. You use it to
Oh.
clean out like keys and stuff. I would
was
do
the
that.
problem?
I would do that immediately because I knew right away when they brought it in. Like
Summer, not jizz. They didn't have jizz in the keys.
Oh. Okay.
that's what I was worried about,
That's what
though.
I
That's what I
thought.
cleaned it out
I
for.
could tell Summer's like.
And there were so many times I just had to look at other people's porn that I was like,
Oh. And you can't
this is what
unsee that.
you're into.
Yeah.
Like, and then you see, I had to see them again. We're all
They were
students there,
classed
so
together.
it's like I got some dirt on this guy.
Right.
He,
There's some.
it's a lot like
genres.
yeah, and so that was just like, and it was like there were no real problems. It was just they watched too much porn and got a virus.
no,
So it's like,
yeah.
all right, well, stop watching porn. Like
Right.
There's
on your
just no
laptop.
such thing as
you
safe
gotta
sex
clear the hard
anywhere.
drive and-
no, that's and that one kind of sucked in that, but every
Mm.
other aspect of that job was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to work at John Deere. Like they're just physically demanding job, not a
Yeah,
bad
just
job.
physically demanding.
But like there was a job I had there that appeared to me to be a lot more physically demanding than the other jobs on the line, and they just like didn't do anything about it. But
Oh.
Right. Well, yeah,
um,
that's always what sucks too. Is if you're like getting paid the same amount as somebody else, but
Right.
you know that you're doing like drastically harder work.
right. Well, the thing is, you weren't because the guy behind you that had the really easy job had
Getting
been there
paid
for 20
more.
years, and
Oh,
he's just like he's getting paid more than you, and he's doing half the work you're doing,
Mhm.
and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was fun to be in a union. I'll say that. I was in the UAW. I was part of the
Ah.
last strike they had.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was cool.
Well, how long ago was
2022,
2 years?
I think. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
hmm
It would have been 2022. We were
That
on
was
strike.
really interesting when that happened. I'm
I-
so young. I was like, oh my
I had a
That
friend.
still happens.
Yeah, I had a friend call me or message me from Chicago. He was in Chicago, and apparently I was on the news.
Oh
They
my
were recording
gosh.
us, and I wasn't interviewed or anything, but they're
Mhm.
like I was with the shot that they had with me with the other people picketing, and that was kind of cool. But
That is
overall, I
cool.
wouldn't knock that job. It just I already worked a ton of hours there, and then they pushed me to I got put on third.
Oh,
And
I
I'd probably
cannot.
still be on third if I was still there, and I just I can't
Right.
do it.
I can't do 30 either.
But I've never had anything. I mean, bartending has its ups and downs. Like there are some disgusting things that people do. I will say
like
one of my first jobs wasn't actually bartending. It was like crowd control and cleanup during the Blackhawks games, and I was like 15 or 16,
Oh, hockey.
and like that was my first experience with like accidentally dumping over a beer that had chew in it. It was so fucking gross.
Oh my god. No.
Oh,
I've never.
It was just, and the thing that sucked then too is like when we got done, because they had Domino's was like their pizza during the game. We would always get
Okay.
pizza at the end. So it's like
Oh.
I kind of made up for it. It's like here, take this whole
That made up
pizza
for
that's
the
left.
chew.
Yeah. Until they started giving some of the work to work release people from the prison or like jail.
Mhm.
So they would bring and they would give them the pizza. So then I wouldn't even get the pizza.
Oh no.
And then they
didn't
wouldn't.
share.
They like we'd have to redo all the work they did because they didn't give a shit. Like I was like, we're
Yeah.
here for the pizza, but
right.
and so then I was like, no, this sucks. But I've never had anything really disgusting.
Right.
I mean, like I guess to me, like since I've seen it, like puke is not disgusting to me
yeah.
anymore.
'Cause you've had to clean bathrooms as a bartender, right?
Yeah.
On
Oh.
average, whose is worse?
Ooh,
Is it
that's
the
tough.
women's?
Because my buddy who
More women puke in the bathroom, I think,
So-
than the men. Yeah, women definitely
make
make it to the bathroom, and then
fair.
I think that my experience has showed me that men just puke wherever they are. So, not better. I'm not saying it's
God.
better. It's just
not more
different. Like
different.
women are like at least a little bit respectable
'Cause my
in that
buddy-
regards, where they're just like, we're gonna make it to the like we might not. It might be all over the bathroom floor, but at
Right.
least it's contained within the bathroom.
That's fair.
Oh,
Now, my buddy used to
right.
do like fast food jobs and like when you get bathroom duty, and he'd worked at like several places like Subway, McDonald's, just to name a few. But he said that it was always the women's restrooms that were always worse.
Yeah.
So like I think
Yeah.
that's like opposite what people would think, that it's even close.
I don't know
It's
what
just
it
different.
is.
Like it's different when people are drunk because like
Oh yeah.
it gets to the point that like if women sit down to pee, so like they're not gonna piss all over the floor most of the time or the toilet.
think.
Whereas like
You would
men, as they
think.
get drunk, they're like, this looks like a toilet and it's just a wall, and
It's
they
a
just
plant
yeah,
in the
they're like, I'm
corner.
close,
A
and
flower pot.
they're just pissing on the wall.
Have you ever used
Yeah.
a sink?
That happened.
I have used the sink, yes.
Yes. So I mean, I've been at a very, very, very busy bar.
I had to. I was gonna piss my
Ooh,
pants.
very
At the
busy bar. To like a packed bar, and like and yeah, no, like I was like there was a line out the door for the men's restroom,
Oh.
and I remember just like drunkenly yelling, "If anyone washes their fucking hands, we're jumping them. Get the fuck out!" Like, it was like,
Ah.
like I was like basically just like, just keep the line moving. Don't wash your
Oh my
hands. Don't slow
God,
down the line.
gross.
And I remember that, yeah, it was basically
Well, the bathrooms
my
get dirty
God.
enough that you're like, is washing my hands really doing
Is it
anything?
worth it?
Like, it's like the sinks don't even look good. Like the
Oh
water
my God.
probably bad. Like the sinks are fucking gross. Like
backs of your knees,
yeah,
man.
you're fine. It's just
Oh,
pee.
gross.
Did
like,
you pee on your hands in the first place?
right? That's it. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of jobs and going to the bathroom, something that I have heard of is people going to the bathroom in like garbage cans at tanning booths. Do either of you guys tan at all?
I'm going to give a strong no.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Tanning beds.
Peeing in the tanning booth?
Yes, I have had friends who've like worked in tanning salons, and it's a thing for people to just sit there and like pee in like the little garbage can in the tanning booth.
That is.
How long
Yes.
is do you tan in a tanning booth?
It's 10 or 12 minutes, and like, okay, I
They
will say
can't hold it
this:
for
once you get naked, it's like your body gets a chill, and like you have to go to the bathroom. I swear, but you don't do it.
I don't get
You just
completely
wish
naked
you
to go to the
could,
bathroom.
you know?
It's weird that this has happened more than once.
I
Like,
heard
this
it. Yeah.
I don't know what these
This
people
is
are
what I
doing,
heard.
but I can just pull my pants down and go to the bathroom. I don't need to get.
Well,
What
you're
would that be?
naked for tanning.
That'd be hilarious. If our like norm was like, well, you got to take like they just had like a little mini area in front of the toilet where you take all of your clothes off to go to the bathroom.
Hooks for hanging everything.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That would explain why it does take some women longer in the bathroom. They're just taking all their clothes off.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're wearing a onesie, yeah, and then you have to be
Oh,
there
the romper?
naked on
The romper.
Ugh,
As much as
yeah.
rompers look
Not
really
good.
nice, like
I have thought about the
do
logistics.
Not
do
good.
yourself a favor and don't wear them. Like it can't be easy to go to the bathroom. in.
It's not. It's uncomfortable.
No, when I worked at that distribution center, I was telling you guys about the one that gave me the PTSD because this is a lovely place. And no, like I remember that other distribution centers, like famously Amazon, their employees would wear diapers.
That's
That's
crazy.
a- that's-
I've heard it.
That's
I've
a whole
heard
different
it.
kind of PTSD.
Pete, no. So I would. I remember thinking that's a really good fucking idea because instead I was just holding it.
No.
If I had to use the restroom, I would just be like, oh, in 3 hours.
You gotta wait.
Because I would have 2 breaks in a 12-hour shift. I'd have a break every 4 hours, like so 4 hours in, then 8 hours in, or something like that. And that I would just have to hold it because like instead of dropping my work and then going to the restroom
Mhm.
or whatever, no one was capable of keeping up with my shit.
Mhm.
No one would do it, and the mess that I would come back to after I would come back because the line's still running, the truck's getting unloaded, the world goes on.
Mhm.
Now for the next like 8 hours of my life, 9 hours, 10 hours, now I am fucked with
Right.
like how bad like catching up, my work is going to be
Playing
and
catch
trying to play catch up. It was more worth it to just not go to the restroom. So now like when
Mhm.
I'm at work and I like kind of have to go, I'm like, hell yeah. And I just go to
Yeah.
the restroom really quick and I come back
Isn't
and
that
do my
so
job
nice?
like
Right.
a normal person. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That I will say I do hold my poops.
You're a poop holder till you get home.
Well, it depends.
If I have, I mean, I'll go.
It
There's
probably
two
depends
things.
for you.
Two things.
Mm.
One, our office, and I love our office, but it only has one bathroom we all share. So I don't want to like ruin that experience for like half hour. And then also like I have a bidet attachment at home.
Oh.
So, like, Now without it, I'm like, this is just not worth it.
You just can't get off without
I can't.
it.
That's true. I can't
You're
get.
not
I
trying to do
can't.
it unless you
I know
can.
like my poop won't be as good unless it
Mm.
knows like a jet stream of water is coming afterwards.
Honestly, I
That's
pooped
great.
at Dave's house. It was nice.
It's magical.
No, I've used a bidet. The first time I used a bidet, I was on a.
I knew that's why he came over too. We had talked about it before. He's like, I don't care how this night goes.
Something was.
I'm gonna
going
take
on
a shit.
my butthole.
I'm gonna take a shit.
I came.
Summer's not here to give me the bunger.
I came here to be bungered. No, but
Oh my
the first
God.
time I used a bidet, I was in Spain with the UNI men's choir,
Oh,
and we were over there
nice.
for 2 weeks, and I used a bidet, and that's when I found out that there was a temperature setting, and I thought, well, I don't want it to be cold,
Oh my
That's the only thing I
God.
wish I had. Mine's cold.
so I put it
Oh,
on
no.
hot, and I scorched my fucking rectum. Like,
Was
my-
it painful for?
Like, I think it blistered a little bit.
Oh my
No,
I can
God.
imagine because it's. I mean, it comes out hard,
It
Yeah,
does.
and then it's
No,
if
and
it's
it's got
hot. I mean,
amazing
it's like
aim.
a steam cleaner.
It's got amazing
Oh
aim.
my God.
No, it seriously burnt my butthole real bad. I was,
Oh my
ouch, and
God.
but like, yeah, no. So
Mhm.
I mean, I've used bidets other times. So
I think every topic we've talked about today has ended with something to do with a butthole.
right, that's gonna be our what's it? So in the show Seinfeld, there was always a Superman reference in every episode,
Oh.
whether it's in the background with some artwork or a reference that a character drops in dialogue.
Mhm.
So we're always gonna have
A
butthole.
Somewhere.
That's fine with me.
Which like the Loft's logo, I mean,
It could be in there. Could be on one of these ducks.
It's butthole esque.
which
The middle
also
butthole.
we don't have our favorite character front and center. Summer, we were
yeah,
coupling
yeah,
up
yeah,
some
yeah.
of the ducks earlier, making them
Yeah.
kiss.
Yeah.
And when we were doing that, like I was like, oh, like that one should be like watching. And Summer Summer's like, yeah, duck the cuck or cuck the
We
duck
had
or something like
cuck
that.
Cuck duck.
right up front.
So we had like a duck that was watching two other ducks kiss, and I don't remember which one it was.
which God bless. We love all forms of sexual pleasure and safe sex.
I don't know if I'm into.
I
the,
like dangerous.
I don't know if
sex.
I'm into the bunger yet.
Yeah,
They will be.
I mean, I'm not
They
going to
will
yuck your yum. That's
What's that mean?
yuck your yum.
Something
Yeah, I know.
like
I know what you
Okay,
mean.
I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah.
I
I'd
heard
like
that
to.
term.
I'd like to yuck your yum.
But yeah, so that's kind of like the worst jobs or the bad jobs.
Mm.
I mean, I was also in Jessup for like 3.5 years at just a shit job, and I remember like a day that I didn't get a promotion there because I had been basically strung along and fucked over for about 2.5 years, to the point where I was cross-eyed and I just couldn't see. I was
Oh.
like, my coworkers knew just to leave me alone and let me just go fuck off for about a half hour because I was so pissed because the people at that place were driving me absolutely up the wall. So where I knew that I wanted to quit in like March of that year. And then I found a replacement job in July or June, but I waited until January because January is when they would restock all of our PTO.
Oh.
So the first thing that I did in January of that next year was I took a week off work because I'd never done that before. So I took a week off work, and then they had to write me a check for the other 80 hours of PTO that I wound up cashing out with on my way out with my last check.
I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, no, if you leave a job like and you do it the right way,
Yeah.
you get your PTO cashed out like
Mm-hmm.
virtually every job. Like if you get fired, I don't believe you get that.
Right. That might
No.
be
If
different.
you get fired, then you're entitled to unemployment. But
Yeah.
no, if you have a PTO, like a paid time off bank, I would say almost every job is supposed to or has it included in their like employee handbook that's like what you get cashed out.
Yeah. I was confused because at my job, I was trying to like take just short amounts of times off work. And I would be like, oh, like just use no pay. Like I don't want to use my vacation on that. I would want to use my vacation on something that was like a long period of time altogether.
Fair.
But they did not want to do that. And they said it was because we don't want to have to like cut you a check.
Yes.
Like if you decided to leave. And I was like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah,
Why
so
would
that's-
I do
That's a
that?
pretty common thing. Is if you have
Yeah, that was my experience at Deere.
I had no idea.
They basically, what their attitude was, especially from the union, they're like, we negotiated
Mhm.
for you to get this time, like this much vacation, like so take your vacation.
Right.
But yeah, at the end of your 1 year, like your start date, like going in, they would pay out whatever vacation you had left. And I totally didn't know that after like my second year,
Mhm.
and I hadn't taken it in, so they were like, I don't think they were pissed, but like I got like a whole another week of pay.
Uh-huh.
Well,
just
then
on top
also,
of it, but
a lot of these places too, what they'll do is they'll limit how much PTO you can carry over from 1 year to the next,
Mhm.
and then they have to prorate pay you out, instead. So, like, there are some places that say that you can't carry over, more than 100 hours from the previous year, and they're basically making it so that way you can't, after working
Take
there
a
for
year
10
off.
years, and then basically, or save all it up and then you quit, and then you
Right,
get paid
right.
out for an exorbitant amount of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that's pretty cool. Paid time off is pretty rad.
Yeah.
I remember my first welding job. The benefits packet had not been like updated since like the 60s. And I remember in your first year, you only got like one excused like paid day off or something like that. And you had to like work there for like, I forget even how long to even get like 1 or 2 weeks. Where at most places, I would say if you're at a place that's like an actual job, like 2 weeks starting is pretty much a minimum.
Mhm.
And then to get that third week, it depends on, I think that I got my third week after being with my company for a year, and I will get a fourth week and 160 hours like on my third anniversary or something like that.
Yeah.
No, it's even better. I've got a pretty good setup now, but like, I remember that like to even get like a third week of PTO, I think I would have to be there for like 8 years or something like that. So some
Oh
places
my
really
gosh.
suck with that.
Yeah, that's like I've experienced a lot in different workplaces I've been at because I do work like manual labor, warehouse type
Yeah,
jobs.
I was gonna say my experience with it is much different.
Yeah. So a lot of the times I will work with people who are a lot older than I am, and I'm like this young new generation.
Where
And
we have standards and they don't.
it seems like nowadays, yeah, like we're like we need the time off. If you're not going to give it to us, like we'll go somewhere else. And it has caused so much tension between like older coworkers and I because they're like, you need to work to earn that and deserve it. And it's just been
Right.
interesting. It's been interesting for sure.
That's always something. Yeah, I've seen that before. It's like, yeah, no.
Mhm.
Good luck being understaffed. Then if you're gonna if you're not gonna advocate for newer employees to get compensated properly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, even when I was at Deere, it was 1 week after a year is what you got, and then 2 weeks after 5, and then I think you got 3 after 10, and then you got a 4th after 20.
No way.
Right.
Yeah, it's not great,
That's not great.
and you don't earn like that. That's straight.
That's just what it is.
No, like
straight vacation time. There's no like earned vacation time, like per hour. Like
right.
Every 40 hours you earn 1 hour, something
right,
like that.
something like that.
Have you guys ever gotten to take like a vacation from work, like as an adult? Like, have you had any really good whether it was because of the duration of vacation or like what you did? Did you like what's the best vacation that you've ever taken off of work? Because like there's some good ones.
I will say I do 1 or 2 days here and there. Like we'll go camping. So I'll take off like Friday, so we leave in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
We do have one up where I'm only taking a day off, but we're leaving in the morning for Chicago. We're staying there Friday night, Saturday night, and then Saturday we're going to a Cubs game, and we're going with our friend Ryan and Dan and Courtney. My girlfriend's going, and this is, I believe, her first time and possibly Dan's first time in Wrigley Field at Wrigleyville, which is
nice,
a super fun experience.
Yeah.
Ryan's been there a bunch. I've been there a few times. So we're really excited about that. But earlier I think it was earlier this year, I took off like 4 days, but it was like a Thursday to a Tuesday.
Right. No, if you can combine that with a federal holiday, that's my jam.
Right.
Like when I see I didn't do it at the 4th of July, but like when I usually see a federal holiday, I'm like, ooh, so that's a 3-day weekend. What if now I just need to add a day or two to it to make it 4 or 5?
That is one thing I did like about Deere, like for the 4th of July, but since it was on Thursday, we wouldn't work Friday.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing, like, if it was on Friday, sometimes we'd get the Thursday off, or they might just like, oh, we're going to lay you off this day.
Yeah.
So like there was plenty of time off there, but it does, like Thursday off, like was nice, but then it sucked because Friday felt like a Monday. Like it was just like, you have all this shit that like the people didn't understand you were closed yesterday.
Yeah.
And now they're like, you feel
doing
like a day,
2 days worth of work in one day.
That kind of sucked, but not really the job's fault. It's just.
But every year, my roommate and I would go to Anime Iowa, which is just a big old nerd convention.
Yeah.
And it's 3 days, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and like I get the Friday, off, so that way we can leave and get there early in the morning. And then also I've learned to have some recovery days.
Yeah.
Because we're done with the convention on Sunday. I'm not going back to work on Monday, and now I've taken Tuesday off. So that's like what I use my vacation for. I don't really have like these, trips to lakes or trips.
Right.
I don't have family or significant other that like traveling. Traveling is not really a thing, but I go to a nerd convention where we get dressed up. We see other people who are dressed up. We go to these activities. They have like these little nerd raves at the end of the night. Like it's
you guys got dressed up good this year. What show did you guys like do again?
Let's see. So for last year, you mean, or?
Oh yes, last year.
So let's see. Last year. Oh, that was a Spy Family. It's an anime called Spy Family, and it was really, really fun.
Yes.
We went pretty hard with the outfits.
I'm going to look this up quick so I have some context.
Yeah, who are the characters again?
So I was Lloyd Forger, who is the dad, and I forget the name of the wife, but that was my buddy's wife. And then my buddy went as our daughter.
Yeah,
who
I
is
knew
who is
there was
named
some
Anya,
gender bending.
and yes, it was hilarious. The cosplays looked really good. It's
Hell
actually a
yeah.
really really good show. Um,
Is this it?
let's see.
She has pink hair.
Yes, I see the one on the very far left. That is Anya.
That was
the
Chris,
daughter.
the pink hair.
Yep.
That's so
And-
cute.
Yeah, it's a really good show about a dude who's a spy and he's in another country, and to appear as a normal dude, he adopts a daughter so that way people don't think that he's just some dude who lives on his own, which is suspicious in that country in that era.
Interesting.
And then he the daughter that he gets from the orphanage, he doesn't know this, but she can read minds. So she knows that he's a spy, and she's like, "Oh, this is really good." But then he also is like, "Man, I should date so that way I'm not like to avoid suspicion of being called a spy in this country." He dates, and then the woman that he is dating also is an assassin by night. So they each have their own secret like night lives and missions and stuff that they go on separately. But then the daughter is wonderfully dumb and knows about both of them. and like hilarity ensues. It's really funny. It's really charming. It's got good suspense, thrilling stuff, but it's also just really funny.
I could get into that.
And yeah, my buddy dressed up in a dress because of it. So
do you like or dislike it when people compare that to the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
That's what I thought too. Like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but with a kid.
But with a kid who can read minds, I would say the comparison's valid enough, I guess. But also, to this date, and as far as I know, in like the series, they have not found out each other's secrets yet.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Interesting.
So yeah, to this date, no, they just maintain, and like when they're gone or like when something happens, they just explain it or lie or or Anya, the one who knows that they're not supposed to know about each other, helps kind of cover.
Right.
For the parents. So
Do they know that
That's
she
so
can read
cute.
minds yet?
No.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
So again, it's like really interesting.
Okay, I can. I could
it's
see.
mostly comedy, but like it's
Okay.
because like his the spy needs the kid to also do well in school, so that way he can get in with like other politicians and get like invited to their parties because they're kids at this school or friends, but they won't be friends if they're not in the same class as doing well in school. So he has to tutor her, but again, she's hilariously dumb. It's really good.
That sounds fantastic.
And that's me geeking out on an anime. I've seen over 100 different anime, so like, yeah, we don't want to.
I'm
go
kind
down
of a
that
big
road.
deal.
We don't want to go down that road.
I know. I know earlier you had mentioned maybe talking about an fun or weird or odd or bad college or high school experience.
Yeah. That was. I forget like who sent it in there. The fan mail got a little bit mixed and jumbled up, but I remember seeing one that was about the like high school or college, like weird or weird stories from high school or college. Do you have one?
I do.
Okay.
When I went to Wartburg for the first 2.5 years of my college experience, and during one winter, someone kept building, and this is just a guess, a roughly 6 foot tall penis and balls out of snow
Yeah.
in the like campus lawn
really
area.
tall.
So like it was girthy and like it was a big old wiener. But they would also like pick up little twigs and things and stick them in the balls to make it look like pubes.
No.
It was like really like it wasn't just like they went into pretty good detail. Like there was vein and it
Oh
was
my
like
god.
yeah, it was just like this ridiculous thing. And then the school would knock it down because they're like, we can't have this giant cock on our campus. And then they would they just kept building it.
Yeah.
I think this went on for like a week.
Oh my gosh.
And
It's real.
I remember, I think it was probably day 5 that security, they were getting pissed. And this instance where they put it was a very high traffic area.
Ooh.
And it was right in front of the athletic facility there. And it was probably their best depiction yet. Like they kept getting better too. Like each one was just like better than the last. And they were like really getting into it. And I really don't know who did it. whoever they're sort of like a hero, like more of an
Send us
anti-hero.
a message if it
but
was you.
it
your
was-
friend.
I distinctly remember this one because the security guy was obviously agitated, and they had a golf cart that they would ride around, and he thought it would be a good idea to knock this one over with the golf cart,
No.
and it nearly ripped the top of the golf cart off as he went through it.
The dick was strong.
It was like hardened
No
from melting a little bit and
way.
then freezing again.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of like sort of jarred him a little bit because I remember him
Yeah.
he got done and he just sat there for a little bit, and you're like, it's like
That was shocking.
you could tell he's like, this is my life. Like I have to knock over a giant penis with a golf cart
Oh my god.
for a living.
Oh my god, that's great.
But it was
Dude.
I absolutely loved it. It was
That's
so funny.
awesome. No, I don't. I haven't got nothing like that.
Oh God. Yeah.
I don't know if you can even top the bunger. I mean
Yeah,
that's
no, yeah, we're
I got
still.
I got something. I got something.
Yeah.
Also shit related.
Oh, is this going where I think it is?
This is going where you think it is. This is. My freshman year of college, I was on the basketball team. We need to write a timestamp to put in a picture of that and a picture of that.
deal.
Yes. Okay, my freshman year, I was on the basketball team. I was extremely shy. I didn't like talk to anybody. I didn't talk badly about anybody because I was scared of everybody except for one person I said one thing about. And so I was just thinking, I'm good. I'm in the clear. And I went back to my room one night, and on my like dorm door is this like gift wrap present. Gift wrapping, ribbon, everything. A name tag says to our favorite season. And I just thought, oh my God, how sweet. This is from like my new teammates. They're like making me feel welcome. This is awesome. And so I take the present like into my room, and I'm sitting there like on my bed opening it, and inside the box is like this baggie with a note, and like there's a lot of like brown substance with like candy. You can see candy shells and the note. And, and so like I'm just thinking, okay, this is funny. This is a prank. Like mushed candy bars. Like I'm grown up and I know that that's not real shit. So I took the note out in my hands, and I'm like reading this note, and it said a lot of nasty things.
Oh no.
And-
Wait.
Yeah.
Where did they get the shit from?
I'll get there. So I ended up reading the note. It said a lot of nasty things. I had an idea of who it was because I literally had only said one bad thing about one person. And so I was just having a feeling it was from her. And a year later, I found out from her ex-boyfriend that it was her. She did send me real shit in that bag, which I had never told any about because I was so ashamed and embarrassed. And she had apparently, with her and her roommates, been playing Truth or Dare, and somebody dared her to like freeze her shit in a baggie in the freezer.
Ooh.
She's got bad friends.
So they had the shit in the freezer for weeks.
Wait.
Oh God.
Wait.
For weeks they had it in their freezer, which is like, why would you keep it that long?
Why would you do it to begin?
Why would you? Wait,
Why
wait,
would
yeah.
you do it to begin with?
What
Why
was
would you
the
keep it
truth that you
long?
avoided? What was the truth you avoided?
Yeah. No,
Oh.
if we're playing Truth or Dare, I'm going to be like, you two kiss for my enjoyment.
Dude,
Or like prank calls your ex or something like that. Like that's the worst shit that I'm doing in a Truth or Dare in college or high school.
and like fair enough, I did like say, I was like, I don't like Monica. I think she is a bitch. Fair. I deserved a bag of shit for it, okay?
no.
Summer, you did not deserve a bag of shit. Monica, you're a bitch.
It was just crazy. And okay, well, more to the story is one of her friends at the time. I also was like, I was having issues with these girls like bullying me and taking my keys. I would forget them in my drawer. They would take the keys for weeks and return them with my, face like drawn on them. They would just knock on my door. Like
This is such a
banging
You're
on
a
my door
emotional
when I'm, like,
terrorist.
home alone. If I was talking to someone in my room and I would laugh at a joke I make, you could hear them across the hall being like, and like I get it. I do have a very high pitched voice, I ended up talking to Student Life about this, the Student Life admin, and having one of the girls like get called in, and like we're both having to talk to the lady separately, and then I'm talking to the lady, and she said like, okay, like she said that she's just having fun because your voice is the way it is, and that's all it is. So it's not a big deal. We're all gonna get together and we're gonna talk about it, okay? And so I'm like, okay. And we're getting together to talk, and the admin is like, okay, so and so, whatever your name is, like, do you want to tell me like what's been going on, like why you've been treating Summer this way? And she's like, no. And she's like, okay, like we just had like a discussion about some things that might have been bothering you. Do you want to say what it is? And she's like, no. And she's like, okay, well, like you did just tell me that you were just making fun of Summer, because you thought her voice was, a little high pitched. And she's like, well, yeah, but that's her voice, and she should just be used to that by now.
Oh my God.
So they gave me poop and just harassed me for my voice.
They gave you poop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not trying to make too much light of your situation. Do you think that this bitch will listen to this podcast? I'm just trying to determine whether.
No, we were not having her as a guest.
I'm trying to determine whether or not you're getting another box of poop.
I have one girl on Facebook, so she might.
If she listens to this and you just show up with a random box of poop at your house,
like,
I'll bring
we
it.
should get her as a guest on the show.
Absolutely, she shouldn't be a guest on any. She shouldn't be a guest on any show.
Yeah, no.
We could call her in and see. Because I wonder, I'm like, does she know that was crazy? Does she just think it was funny?
No.
I want to know her perspective on the situation.
You need to
now.
You should find out if she's married.
She is.
Tell her husband about it. And then if he's just like, yeah, she does that shit all the time. Like every time we get in a fight, she gives me a bag of shit.
It's like Amber Heard up in there.
Like, we got a deep freeze in the basement full of bags of shit for when she gets mad.
Yeah, no, she saves them up, and then I don't know where she's
What
keeping
a weird.
them. I don't know where she's keeping them. She saves them up for that we get in a fight, and she just starts like
Whatever's in between normal person and serial killer is what she is.
Right.
Like she hasn't killed anyone, but she's giving people bags of poop.
Giving out bags of poop.
Right. No, that's some weird mafia shit right there.
Yeah.
She's the number one hit.
That
she's a blackmailer for the mafia. She just gives.
She's a brown mailer.
Yeah, she's a brown mailer. She's a brown mailer.
A brown mailer.
She's a brown mailer. She's like, we know what you did last summer. Here's a bag of shit. Like,
the brown mailer.
I'm just saying, if you get a bag of shit after this, we
know.
either have one very enthusiastic fan,
A copycat.
a copycat,
A copyscat.
A copycat.
I'm proud of how quickly that came out of my mouth.
Perfect. Copycat.
Mm.
Oh God.
So what was your weird college experience?
So this is like from my freshman year.
He's like, I shit in a bag.
As a joke, I shit in a bag and I gave it to Summer.
I sold it to this girl named Monica.
I just gave her a letter saying, you know what to do. And she did. No, so my freshman year, so I was living in a dorm room, which I only really did for one semester because I did apartments. I was in a dorm room with somebody that I didn't know. Because sometimes you can make friends and get like cool experiences from that. But I went to Ellsworth Community College, where I didn't really have very. Oh gosh, what's a good way to say he was an asshole? But anyway,
Dickhead.
He was an asshole.
So I was. So my roommate was an asshole, and so I wake up one morning and I'm getting a phone call from a few buddies of mine. They say, "Hey, we had a party last night. We had a few drinks, a few more drinks, and a lot of drinks. And my buddy was came from out of town. He had $200 in his wallet because he's gonna pay a parking ticket. But then he wound up not paying the parking ticket just yet. He's gonna do that on his way out of town. And your roommate was at the party, and your roommate's one of the only other people that knows that the cash was in the wallet. Now the cash is missing. Did your roommate take the money?" And I went over to my roommate's drawer because my roommate wasn't in the room at the time, and I knew, and they said it was going to be 4 $50 bills, and I see 4 $50 bills like in the cash drawer, and I'm like, that's pretty unmistakable. But they didn't want me to take it right then and there because like it was going to be too obvious that the money was taken,
right,
by me and at the time. So like after we went weightlifting, because I was a part of the football team, and all of us really were like we were in the football dorms. I had organized like this Ocean's 11 thing where basically I knew I was keeping watch of like how often he was like going into the money drawer and like what day, like so. And I could trace back what day this actually happened. So we went weightlifting, and then like on the way back, so the window was brief. So on the way back, me and the guy who had his money friend's money stolen, his name was Nash. We went back to my room, and I told him, when you walk in the door of my room, turn to the left, open up this Halo 2 game case, open it, turn around, close it, because when you open it up, I'm going to put the money in there, and you close it, you just get the hell out of there immediately, and then you have your alibi, you know, for why you were there in the first place, the game case. And
was this guy some like criminal mastermind that you had to do this?
Well, basically, so it was more so worrying about the retaliation, which we'll get into, because the dude, so I grabbed like a to-go bag that I pretty much had prepared, and then I'm like listening, you know, like as like we're kind of doing this, of course something's got to go wrong in the heist. Yes. So I have a third friend who is like outside, supposed to be like the fucking lookout.
The lookout.
Oh yes, and then I'm like, hey, do you see him anywhere? And then I just hear on the other side of the phone, hey, Austin's or Oliver's roommate's name.
Right.
I'm not doxing him because like I get I won't jump ahead, but there's like more details. But anyway, so now I know that the lookout, who is 10 feet away, now is within 10 feet of the dude. So now like I'm like, fucking go, like Nash takes off with the game case, which I was only able to recover like 3 of the $50 bills. Like one of them had been broken by that point in time. Yeah. But then I grab a to-go bag, I go shower, and start watching the Minnesota Vikings and the Packers play Monday Night Football in 2011. You can figure out when this happened.
Right.
You can find the exact date, but like, and then like we just hear boom, 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 and then it's my roommate knocking on the door, asking, hey, is Oliver in there? And I'm like, yeah, I'm in here. He's like, open up the door. Like, it's about to go. And I open up the door. He's like, where's my money, man? I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. He's like, don't play with me, because he would always kind of do this like little thing that like when he'd get mad.
One of those guys.
Yeah, like so he would kind of like, and then like I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And like here's the thing, this dude had been stealing from me all semester, by the way.
Dude.
So like, that's why I was happy to do this. Like,
yeah.
If I would leave my wallet in my room, even if I would just have it in my wallet in my jeans, but I'd like leave my room for a bit, he would find my jeans, find the wallet, take a 5 out.
Oh my god.
Or there were like certain items in my room that I would notice like would go missing. There was actually a time where I had a book, one of my college books, go missing, but they couldn't do shit about it because it wasn't marked. There wasn't really any way to prove anything. So I remember, they were like, if this ever happens again, mark your books, and then maybe we can, catch somebody in the act. So yeah, this dude had been stealing from me all semester, and so so after I told him I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, like the third time, he went out of the room to the security guard's office, who has tapes. I'm like, fuck, like this is bad. So he goes. And they start reviewing the tape, and the security guard's like, so when was the last time that you knew that the money was there? And I'm in the room too, and my roommate's like, right before I went to lifting. And I knew that was a lie because I was watching that shit like a hawk. Right. He had not checked that in like since early that morning. He had not opened that drawer since early that morning. And so, but the security guard goes back through the tape, and there's no camera that goes into the room.
All right, we're back.
And we're back.
We're back. We had some brief technical issues, but they've been resolved. Yeah. I think we've got a little bit to talk about with the Loft. We've got to thank them again. I don't think it's too much to thank them every episode, because we have this wonderful space to do this podcast.
Providing the space and yeah, just they've been great for every show that you've approached them with, and been the most accommodating we could expect anyone to ever really be. So
they
absolutely,
really hard.
Yeah. I mean, and this the thing is, the owners of this also own the bar downstairs,
local bar
hop. They own the
Iron Horse Saloon,
and Behar Bar. Yeah,
no, all of them great bars, great people, great drinks, good stuff to do. A bunch of dartboards, pool tables, a foosball table, just even here, in fact, and also a bunch of great shows. Do we have a
so it
listing?
Looks like their next, from what I can tell, their next big show will be next Saturday, the 13th. It's free cover. Dead Presidents. Cedar Valley Events is saying it's the
Music.
indie night here. So doors open at 9. Free entry. What else do we got here?
Indie as in like the indie race,
Indie night as in indie rock.
Indie rock. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, not
Yeah.
Indianapolis as the famous.
It's supposed to. It
I
says
think
it's going to
that's
be
also
the
happening
biggest
too.
party in the whole Cedar Valley.
Oh,
It
shit.
looks like it has something to do. Cedar Valley Events hits 5,500 members, which is great for
That
our
is
community to have that
awesome.
many members of an event page. That's really cool.
People want fun stuff to do.
They do, and a lot of it
Mhm.
is happening here.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
So
But yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Come support the loft. You won't regret spending your time or time here or your money on the drinks. It's
Mhm.
it's a good time.
It is.
And then those good shows, including our comedy shows on occasion. Dave's got an open mic last Wednesday of every month, or is it
Right.
last or fourth?
it's the fourth Wednesday of every month.
Gotcha.
Or no, sorry, you're right.
I say are
God,
there
I
five
always say it wrong.
sometimes?
It's the last
the
Wednesday.
last
Which
one.
is usually the fourth. but
Typically the fourth,
sometimes then
sometimes
they're
the
five.
fifth. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we may be adding another sort of Sunday afternoon mic.
Mhm.
And then maybe doing some like fall showcase shows on our Wednesday night. So that could be fun to kind of give some more opportunities to people that want to do shows. And
I'm excited about the Sunday one because sometimes people want to do comedy during the daytime. Some of us want to go to bed early.
I was kind of thinking, I was hoping it would draw some out of towners.
Yeah.
So it's, maybe they did a show Saturday and I know that they probably want the day off, but then also if they didn't, maybe they wanted, because if we start in the afternoon, they still have plenty of time to drive home. Like it's not a lot, like they're not getting home
Right.
at 10 or 12 o'clock at night.
Something that
And
doesn't
so,
goof up your sleep schedule or your meal schedule. 'cause,
Yes.
Yeah, road comedy can be taxing in that regard.
Right.
Which sometime we're gonna circle back around and maybe actually read the sleep study.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to kind of have some mysticism to it. Like I want to read it, but like part of it's like, let's just assume.
But anything else you can think of before we sign off?
I think that's about it.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Shower beers.
Cheers to shower beers.
Cheers to shower beers. The end.